Hi everybody, my name is Brett Galt and I'm here at Lake Johnson Park, which is about 5 to 10 minutes away from NC State. Lake Johnson Park is owned by the city of Raleigh. You'll see a lot of NC State students come here, as well as many other people come here as well. I personally come here to walk my dog Mia. I try to come about 5 to 6 times a week. Don't always get there, but as I've walked around, I've noticed a lot of things that kind of scare me, and I think a lot of things that could cause injury. So today I'm going to walk you around Lake Johnson, show you all those things, point them out, and then at the end of this video, I'm going to give you ideas of what I think the changes could be made so that no lawsuits come to the city of Raleigh and that they don't get sued for anything else. So come on this journey with me. Lake Johnson is home to two different trails. You have the paved trail and the non-paved trail. Right here is the non-paved trail, which I don't really use much. The other one right across the street is the paved trail. This is where I walk my dog Mia. And this is also where I notice the different things that go on that I don't really like and I want to take a look at. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So one of the first things I noticed here when walking around Lake Johnson with my dog is I never passed any park rangers at all during the 3-mile long trail. And I thought this was pretty unusual because I had heard that there was park rangers, but I had never seen them. So I don't know if there is or isn't, but I haven't seen them. So the reason for this is, let's say that somebody is walking just along the trail and something happens to them and they collapse, or somebody just has a seizure or something like that, some kind of serious injury or something that could lead to death happen, and there's nobody around. Let's say there's no pedestrians around. That's where the park ranger would come into play, and I haven't seen any of them around. So later I'm going to tell you about what kind of thing I would implement to make sure that the city of Raleigh wouldn't get nailed for anything like this, or have any lawsuits coming their way if somebody were to collapse at Lake Johnson. So right here is one of the many things that I was talking about earlier that I've noticed when I've been walking around. This is a large hill. It's one of the many 5 or 6 large hills here at Lake Johnson, and you see a lot of bikers riding down these hills, and they're going at very fast pace. And so a pedestrian could just be walking right down the hill, and all of a sudden a biker just comes flying by them. If a pedestrian were to go left or right one way, the biker probably would run into them, because when the bikers go down the hills, they give no notice of where they're coming from or which side they're coming from. So later on, I'll tell you about what I would do about this and how I would fix this situation. So what I'm about to talk to you now kind of relates back to the whole not seeing any park ranger things when I'm walking the trail. As you walk down a little bit down the trail, just at the entryway, you walk down here through this little road, and you'll see that there's an opening. And the opening is not guarded by anything, so you could just have one little kid come down here, get away from his parents if his mom was talking to somebody else, or you could have a dog get away and they could jump into the water, which is just right here. There's no signs, no gates, nothing. So there's no warning of danger or anything like that. So you could have some serious injury. A kid or a dog could potentially go into that water and drown, and then the city of Raleigh has a lawsuit coming their way because they didn't protect this area well. So one of the really cool things here about Lake Johnson is you can kayak, canoe, and go on some boats here to my left. You're supposed to wear a life jacket. They make you wear a life jacket when you go out there. But one of the many things that causes concern for me is when you go out there in canoe or kayak, nobody is out there to supervise to make sure that you keep that life jacket on. So anybody could go right out there, get out far, and then take their life jacket on and go swimming. I know people that actually do it myself. So I find that very concerning when somebody goes out there, because they could go right out there, take it off, jump into the water, and somehow end up drowning. So later I'll tell you on what I'm going to do to fix this problem. Now that I've shown you some safety hazards around Lake Johnson of what I've seen when walking around, I'm going to offer you some solutions of what I would change to make this a safer environment for everybody. So earlier in this video I mentioned the park rangers and how I didn't see any park rangers when I was walking around. So what I would do is I would hire a couple of park rangers, probably about 4 or 5. Only 2 would work each day. And so they would work from the early mornings to night, and then they would both patrol the 3-mile radius. One would do the 1.5, the other would do the other half. And so this is to ensure that people are safe when they were walking around Lake Johnson. The park rangers would be on like ATVs, golf carts, or something like that, so they could get to the scenario real quick and then call 911 if possible. This would ensure safety for everybody at Lake Johnson that is walking around. You also see a lot of cyclists here at Lake Johnson. And while cycling is very healthy and beneficial for your body, I would get rid of it completely. I think the cycling is very dangerous because these cyclists go up and down the hills at very fast speeds, and they could very well run into a person and injure them. So what I would do is I would get rid of it completely. Instead of on the sign, the Lake Johnson side, I would put an X where the bicycles is. And this would also be another thing of the park rangers. They would ensure by going around that no bicyclists are around, and if they are, they would need to ask them to politely leave Lake Johnson. In this video, I talked about how there was no gate or warning signs by the dock, and how if a kid got away from his parents, he or she could easily go down into the dock and end up drowning because they can't swim. So what I would do is I would put warning signs around there to let people know that it's very dangerous and to not allow their child or anything like that to go down there. And then also I would implement a gate and put a gate right there. And the gate would be locked by a key, so only the park ranger or one of the staff members could enter the gate. And so this would ensure that nobody went down there and drowned, and that no lawsuits would come Lake Johnson's way. Kayaking, canoeing, and going out into the water are very popular attractions here at Lake Johnson. However, like I said, they make you put on the life jacket, but there's nobody out there patrolling the waters if you were to take it off or anything like that. So what I would do is I would have people sign a liability waiver, ensuring them and letting them know that if they were to get out of their life jacket and go into the water, they would be responsible for everything at their own risk. Lake Johnson does make sure that when you rent something, that you have to sign something, but that's not a liability waiver. So I would make them sign that liability waiver just to ensure that Lake Johnson would not be at risk if anything were to happen to anybody. With hiring the park rangers and buying some signs, it will cost the city of Raleigh a little of money. The ranges of their pay on their website went anywhere from $7.25 an hour to $11 an hour, so I'm going to pay the park rangers $10 an hour. They will be working 40 hours a week, and there will be 2 of them working at all times. So that would be $800 a week between the 2 of them. Times that 800 by 52 weeks in a year, and it's roughly over $41,000. That might change because in the winter, you may be able to use only 1 park ranger a week, depending on how many people visit each day. Then, the signs will cost them about $41 a sign, so that would be $164 in total. The city of Raleigh has enough revenue where they can afford this, and it's better than having to deal with a lawsuit that could potentially end up costing them millions of dollars. Thank you for taking this tour around Lake Johnson with me and helping me show all the safety measures that I would implement to help the safety of the people and to help ensure that Lake Johnson would not be liable for any deaths or injuries here. Thank you for watching.